Hey yo guys, what's up? Welcome to First Issue Tech. My name is Kyle T, joined by Mr. Courtney. What's going on today, my friend?
Not much, Cal. Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? I was trying to find something catchy to say, but I wasn't really ready today.
Oh, and you even rhymed.
I wasn't trying to do that.
It's all good. So we've dug up, or rather Courtney dug up a whole lot of good stuff to talk about today. I ain't even gonna front. So we got, we're gonna start off with a little bit of zero rating. Anyone heard about zero rating? How about zero rating on your ISP, zero rating on your mobile devices? Data rates, data caps.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know what zero rating is, that's where you go to different websites or different apps are running, and it tells the ISP, which is your internet provider or your mobile carrier, what websites you're going to, which apps you're using, and then they say, okay, if you're using this app, it doesn't cost you anything. Basically, that's what it means. So when you see like T-Mobile's binge on, and it says, hey, you can use, what is it, Pandora or Spotify or something, and they say you can use this free, it doesn't affect your data. That's what zero rating is, basically.
Now the kicker is, it sounds like it's all good, but it's not all good. We're about to tell you why.
Conspiracy.
Illuminati and shiz. So we go on from that to now we're getting a whole lot of leaks, quote unquote, schematics for the new iPhone 8, iPhone X. I like the term. I like iPhone X, man. That would be pretty dope. But
what if they just changed it and called it the Apple phone instead?
that would be. They've been hanging on to that one. I bet they might change. Or they'll just do the iPad thing and call it iPhone and just relaunch, make it iPhone 2019, iPhone 2020.
Yeah, they could do something. I mean, it's Apple. They do whatever they want anyway.
And go ahead.
No, go ahead. Let's go ahead right down the list, and then when we start talking about the phones, then I'll start making my comments. I'm ready to start skipping a few steps.
Oh, I see. Well, that's why I was hoping you'd want to introduce or go over the next one, because apparently a couple of repairmen have talked that the PS4, the regular PS4, OG PS4 model, is breeding ground for cockroaches. Yep.
Yeah, you know those doomsday survivors, the end of the world survivors?
Nasty stuff.
Found another place to hide to survive.
Well, let's hope the apocalypse for them has a bunch of PlayStation 4s still plugged in and hot. And last is, so Samsung really does not want you to change that extra button, that third button on the phone.
Bixby button.
Yeah, even though it's doing a whole lot of nothing right now because there's no Bixby voice. We'll have to get to that one at the end of it, but for right now, let's bring it right around back to the beginning with that zero rating. Oh man, that was tasty. So, essentially, yeah, you got the lowdown on the first. What it is specific programs, applications that do not count against a preset data cap. Pretty much as simple as that for what the terminology means. Now, I'm actually of the camp that this is indicative of a bigger problem for a couple of reasons. I want to spin it over to you. You take the floor for the first one. What do you think as a whole?
About for a zero rating?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, to me, it all goes back into privacy a little bit because, but we all have to understand that if we want certain things, we're going to have to give up certain quote-unquote liberties. So we have to give them access to our phones, give them access to see these things. As long as that's the only access they're looking for, I'm okay with it. Zero rating doesn't bother me because that zero rating means if I'm a customer with a limited data supply or a data plan and I'm using all these zero rating apps, I'm okay. So I really don't have any complaints. But when you're somebody else, the other user who's super heavy and always cranking out data 30, 40 gigs a month, that zero rating kind of doesn't apply, and they end up getting penalized.
I'm going to tell you why you're wrong, Courtney, and I'll tell you right now. Actually, you're not really wrong, but there's actually, I remember reading about this, and it delves into a much deeper issue. Hold on to your boots, folks, because we're about to go down a rabbit hole. Now...
Man, I don't like climbing in tight spaces, man. What's wrong with you?
We ain't gonna touch that one. Let's go.
See, you always gotta turn it dirty. Whenever you talk about going into a hole or something tight or something dark or something wet, you got to make it nasty and dirty and slimy. You said rabbit hole. I've never heard of any body part referred to as a rabbit hole.
You never seen Alice in Wonderland? You don't know where that comes from, man?
I know where Alice in Wonderland comes from. Some pervert old man and his fantasies. Yeah, well, never mind. I get you. All right. So, time to go right back to our topic of the day. Let's go.
No, I mean, the privacy. I didn't actually think about the privacy, so that is interesting. I didn't look into that. However, this goes into another problem, and that is the ever looming issue of net neutrality. Why? Because zero rating these apps can eventually make way for preferential treatment, and it's kind of linked to
Netflix and Comcast.
Yes. So you have these.
Best example I can think of immediately, but since they've buried the hatchet. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
You're good. I like input, but yes, now you have these companies literally buying internet space and buying your internet time, as well as eventually it could lead into a host of other things. That could be, if you want Netflix, you're going to have to go with AT&T's internet service or yada yada yada. It could fragment.
It could, but with the previous administration, that wasn't a problem. It's the current administration where net neutrality becomes an issue, a hot topic again. This is the administration that we have to worry about with a lot of our previously placed protections.
The emails.
What emails? What emails? Are we talking alternative news or real news?
It's whatever news you like to think it is.
No, I got a problem with our current administration saying that alternative news is news. It's not. It's bullcrap. Anyway, we have to worry more about our foods, the labeling of our food, products that can and cannot be used in our foods now, our environment even more so, and the loss of or the changing of the rules for the internet. So the rules of engagement are changing rapidly. And we're constantly being distracted by other things in the media when we really need to pay close attention to all these bills and changes that are being signed on a daily basis.
True.
That we're missing.
Yeah, net neutrality is still an issue. It's weird. Who knows when the next I forgot what the major bill was that.
I don't know, but we can't just give up, or the ISPs need to treat everybody the same way when it comes to internet access. Everyone has to be treated the same. You can't, because if, say, for instance, Comcast, you're paying $50 a month for internet, but if you want to be able to stream Netflix and get the full HD or the full K that's offered through Netflix, if you have a compatible television, then you have to pay an extra $15 a month. That's not cool, but that's the direction we're going, especially with Comcast re-implementing or starting all over again the data caps. Because before, at one point, when the internet speeds were really getting popular, your data limit was about 300 gigs a month. And then as speeds got faster and faster and faster, and the internet became more readily available to people, they raised it. Now it's 1 terabyte, and you get 2 courtesy months if you go over, where you don't receive any charges, where it's like $10 for every gig you go over, which is crazy.
Oh, damn. So,
yeah, it's some number,
did you say $10 a gig?
Yeah, I'm thinking it's $10 a gig. I could be wrong,
dude.
But I think that's what the rate is.
But
you can pay another $20 a month or $30 a month in your bill to have unlimited with no caps. But that would be the extreme case, someone that's got multiple people in the house always streaming because they cut the cords. If I was a cord cutter, which is coming soon, I would pay the extra money to have unlimited, because I don't want to get a $400 internet bill from Comcast. That's crazy. But if you're lucky enough to be in one of their... What's that?
So it'd be higher than that.
Oh yeah, it'd be a whole lot better. I mean, a whole lot higher than that. I was trying to think of the softer side of things.
But I think the long and short of this, not mean to cut you off, or kind of trying to cut you off, is that True. This is very evocative and indicative of a much larger issue that people haven't or might not be as well versed or well known about. So get out there. We're not pushing a political agenda, but hey, man, if you love the internet, pay attention to what's going on and go make a difference.
Think about it. If they take the concept of zero rating, and then you think about how the caps and things that think everybody's being tracked, it's completely arbitrary. It's not even. I don't know. It's frustrating because one, you'll never really know how much bandwidth is available from your carrier anyway, based on usage, and so you don't know how much you're really getting versus how much you're paying for, and these different. I'm frustrated now. I think it's really deceptive, and it's not cool because it's back to, the company saying, hey, you want to buy this? I know you like it. But meanwhile, they don't tell you that it's got X, Y, and Z in it that's going to hurt you, or this is the penalty. Or they give you this big, long TOS for you to read, and you're not going to read it because it's like 50 million words. Mm-hmm. But section 42 on page 397-C says, oh, by the way, if you ever visit Facebook.com, you have to pay us $10 a month. Some nonsense like that.
True, yeah. Once it's a slippery slope once you start messing with the internet and internet usage. I feel like if you're a service provider, especially of home internet service, you shouldn't have a data cap. I haven't seen a data cap since I had satellite internet. And that's kind of understandable because that was a fringe technology and relatively expensive. So that I could kind of understand. That was a extreme scenario, and even that was terrible. And it was daily, too. We were only up to 750 megs a day, and that was awesome.
Well, it's the FCC's job to make sure that our rights or our safety or the legality behind net neutrality is protected and our best interests are taken care of. But if no one brings it to the forefront, if no one really catches a company being deceitful and it doesn't come to the mainstream media, then FCC may not even get involved because no one said anything. So if it's something that can be pushed under the rug or snuck around into the back door, the FCC won't be involved. So we can't really be mad at the FCC unless we make complaints. We have to stay vigilant as users. So that way when we see companies that are doing some type of scheme or something that's not exactly within the guidelines, we have to let them know. And the best way to be active is contact the FCC, contact your local state and government. You have to. But people don't think like that. They just think they get on Twitter and just complain. Yeah, you can do that too. You can get on social media, but also reach out to your local government, who's also in charge of that. You have voices. We have voices. We just have to use them.
Right. Use your social media as a platform to find out about these things and then actually take the next. I guess that's the one thing we haven't gotten over is taking that next step. And what is that next step? So hopefully we can spark some little fires here. Whew. I think we should bring it around to something and get you a little more calm. Because I feel that tense, just like your heartstrings, just like steel right now. Your stomach is sinking.
Yeah,
and
I'm getting a little frustrated.
Out.
So I just had a vision of me turning on the kitchen lights when I was a kid, and all these roaches go running in every direction. That's kind of what I think about when I think about the PS4. A bunch of roaches running. Yeah. And I think that's crazy that, like, the PS... I mean, I can understand electronics because there's been some computers that I've fixed or I had to clean out, and there were dead roaches inside the computer. And I get that frequency and the heat that these devices give off. For some reason, roaches are attracted to them. But a PS4 being like a melting pot for roach, what is it? What word am I looking for?
Roach hotel?
It could be a roach hotel, but no, I'm thinking dirtier than that. Like freaking roach orgies. A bunch of roaches running around, nude, sliding all over each other, making more roaches.
Okay, first of all, I just want to say, if you ever see a roach that's rocking a suit and tie, please send me a picture.
But think about it, man. Come on. You got your PS4. You spend $400 on this machine. You don't have any roaches in your house. Next thing you know, you see roaches.
Okay, I'm just going to interject and say it doesn't attract or it doesn't send out a frequency to bring.
I don't know. I think it's got a frequency. So if there's a roach, crawling past your window and they have no intention of coming in your house and they're just going about their business, and then you fire up that PS4 and that roach says, "Oh, what's that? Let me go check it out." And that roach just happened to be pregnant and it lays 100 eggs. There you go.
Okay, so let's go in a little more into why this is happening.
All right, let's get serious. All right,
yeah.
Go ahead.
So essentially, it just happens to be that there are a lot of conditions that are in the right place and just conveniently happen to be.
Oh, and what are those conditions?
First things first is the integrated power supply.
But
Obviously,
there's other things with integrated power supply, like my television has an integrated power supply.
Yeah,
so you mean to tell me there's roach in my TV?
Yes, interjecting millennial child. You can interject my first point and disprove everything I said. So you do have the integrated power supply, which does produce the heat and possibly that frequency that I don't know as much about. So either way, you have the heat, and that's an attractor. You also happen to have, and I've also looked into myself, is it's actually, most power supplies actually are this way, is that they are quite open. So there is enough space to kind of live freely around there. It's just a nice little sauna.
I was reading over on, what was it? Kotaku? Was that the site? Kotaku? Is that where we got it from? Kotaku? Yeah. Sorry for butchering your name, guys. But yeah, over on Kotaku, and they were saying that X Cubicle charges like $30 or $25 or $30 to a roach fee. I'm like, really?
Really? I would charge more.
Yeah, it's like they charge $25 or $30. I can't remember. I have to find the article, but it says like $25 or $30 a roach fee because they get at least one PS4 a week that's infested with roaches.
Well, you also have to. Okay, we're getting a little too far ahead. There are more reasons.
I just had to say that because that popped in my head. I'm like, wait, I forgot they charge money for roaches.
Well, hell yeah.
How about you just fix my problem and have that included in the price? Don't charge me because I've got a PS4 and Sony made a roach magnet.
So beyond the heat and the integrated power supply. You also happen to have the PlayStation 4 original model. It has the fan intakes are actually just wide enough for it to be able to roaches to be able to slip in. And I didn't really think about it until I looked at mine again, and it's like, yeah, they actually are quite wide. So comparative to, I know the Xbox One and Nintendo barely has it. Nintendo has like a tiny 40mm fan in the Wii U, and the Switch less than that. So Nintendo doesn't really have anything to worry about. And they have external power supplies too. But yeah, their opening is considerably larger than your Xbox One S. Only has small perforations at the top, so they have that one covered, as well as I believe I haven't been hands-on with an Xbox One, but I do think you only have a few exhausts and the intakes aren't that largely open.
Yeah, they like to make the point that there's more PS4s out there in the world than Xbox Ones, and that's why there's more PS4s with roaches than Xbox Ones. But it's also that a lot of the Xbox One S's, first of all, I won't even get into that, but a lot of the Xbox Ones, you can now stand vertically, just like the PS4s, but they're not the ones in those tight, dark places. A lot of people put their PS4s for some reason in dark sections on the floor. Yep. So a dark, cool place is great for a roach hotel.
Especially on the floor. And not to mention, I'm just going to throw this out there because I've lived in several counties where the income was low. The PS4 started at $100 cheaper, so you have a lot of people with the original PS4, which does get probably the warmest and there's probably as much or if not more than the other units.
Oh, they have the vents on the bottom as well, don't they?
No, just the sides. But
I thought the PS4s had the vents on the bottom.
No, they're on both sides, with the main one being on the bottom if you stand it vertically.
Oh, okay. So the vent would be on the bottom if you put it vertically.
However, there's still a divot, so it does still get airflow. Unless you put it vertically on carpet, then you're just an idiot.
Gotcha.
Just like putting any power supply on a computer or anything on the carpet, it's not a good idea. But that's beside the point. So, yeah, essentially it was the cheapest console for a solid year and a half, 2 years. low-income families purchase this one more often. Low-income families are usually, just saying, dirtier homes, trailer parks, roaches are more likely. So
don't take offense to any of our listeners if you just happen to fall in that category. I don't think he meant anything by that.
I was in that category. I lived in a crappy trailer. I lived in a double wide for 23 years.
Double wide?
Beep beep. So yeah, all those things combined, the intakes are wide enough, the heat, the integrated power supply, they all come together, and also the vast amount of them comparatively to other consoles. Yeah, you are definitely more likely to have those.
Okay, all right, that makes sense.
Got that out of your system? I know you had that waiting for a while.
Well, no, I just couldn't wait to talk about PS4 and their roach problem. I just thought it was great.
It's okay. He's a next boner, people. It's all right.
No, so what other reasons do you think that roaches go inside the consoles?
That's all I got.
All right, so how do you think? How would you try to prevent roaches getting into your PS4? Because you have a PS4.
Yeah, my PS4 is never on the floor. It's always elevated, well ventilated, and on a clean desk.
Okay. So, do you have any recommendations for other PS4 console users that may get roaches because they live in a trailer park or in a low-income area and they have roaches in their house, or somebody lives in a mansion and they're just dirty and they got roaches?
Actually, yes, a couple. If you are handy, I'd recommend everyone that's had a PlayStation 4 for more than a year or so, just take it open and dust it out. Dust kicks up in the fans pretty quickly. And it's already a pretty loud system, so you gotta clean it out to prevent overheating anyway. If nothing else, to make it stop sounding like a jet engine. It's been called the jet engine since it's been launched, and it's earned its name.
Yeah,
loud.
That first year, once your manufacturer's warranty expires, then that's when you want to crack your console open.
Yeah, definitely. If you have a warranty, don't do anything about that. You can go on Amazon and get dust filters that just slide right into the side. Most of them are non-restrictive, so at the very least you'll get like a couple % less airflow, but you will be saving dust from getting in your system, so you are kind of prolonging the life that way. So you only have to take it apart once every 3 years if you keep it that long. And 2, obviously if it keeps dust out, roaches are obviously a lot bigger than dust particles. Should be fine. Yeah,
and also I recommend you guys using like an ultrasonic cleaner as well to go in there and clean out your electronic devices. It's a big help.
Ultrasonic cleaner? Tell us more.
Yes, sir. No, just do your research.
I thought we were the research.
No, not for something that's not on the topic today. We have to run a tight shift.
Fair enough. Yeah, we did ramble on a little bit. So
yeah, I couldn't help it. I had to talk about these damn roaches in the console, man. That was just too much.
Well, you know what ain't got roaches in it? That new iPhone. Yeah, I wasn't even going to wait for a reply because I knew that was terrible. So we're now getting a couple leaks or rumors or leaks or alleged leaks. Some of them have a little more merit than others, but basically, I'm actually going to start this. I'm going to back it up because there's something. Both Samsung and Apple tried to do this year, and potentially both may fail, is how the story's going. Now, we saw late last year, a lot of patents were being filed for technologies to read a fingerprint through a screen display. Now, rumor has it, I'm going to throw this out here, rumor has it.
Ooh, tell me again. Tell me more about this fingerprint thing. You say read the fingerprint through the screen?
Patents were filed for technology that will allow fingerprints to be scanned through a phone's display. So essentially, instead of putting it on your fingerprint scanner like you have on your iPhone or OnePlus, LG, you would just place it right on the phone's screen and read it that way. So essentially, or eventually, basically, you could get rid of that bottom bezel because you have no need for it, which is what rumors are saying that Samsung was trying to do with the Galaxy S8. And as a result, they could not get the technology prepared in time. So that is why you have the fingerprint sensor in an incredibly hard to reach area, because they literally had to slap it in the last minute. Now again, that's mostly rumor, but it does seem very likely. Now bringing it back to Apple and the new iPhone design, is that Apple is also working on this same technology for their next iPhone, and they're getting down to the wire, and reports are coming in. Two different reports, or two different analysts claiming that one says there may not be a fingerprint sensor because this technology is just not ready yet, a little too far ahead for when their release schedule is. And the other is saying that no, there will be one, but it's going to be in an incredibly stupid and tacked on position like the Galaxy S8 did.
Well, I don't see anything wrong with the S8's fingerprint sensor in the back.
Have you seen it? Have you touched it? Felt it?
Yeah. I'm a little biased because I have big hands. Now, I do think the Plus is a little out of reach for the S8 Plus. Being right next to the camera like that, I don't think that works on the Plus. I think it should have been dropped down a little bit, a little more centered in the back, like LG does. But I don't know. I'm sure I just don't understand. But do they figure, okay, well, we're close, but we're not close enough for it to come out this year, so we'll put it on next year? Because there's room on the front. There is room on the front. Okay, we got rid of the bezels, but down near the bottom, they can put a thin fingerprint sensor and something more like like the laser ones that would be on a laptop where you roll your finger across. Or if you go into like a government building and you just roll your finger across and it's like this thin little...
Yeah, I think the main reason for that is that's just not as accurate, and that probably doesn't have as... Not necessarily that it's not as accurate, but it's probably not as fast.
No, I understand. I'm just trying to find a reason. Like, I don't understand. I'm gonna leave Samsung alone because I really don't have any quarrels with their fingerprint sensor in the back. The S8 is a beautiful phone. It's the best looking smartphone on the market because it doesn't look like every other candy bar phone out. So I think they did a really good job with their design this time, and it kind of reminds me of the Note 7 with the little twist, which is great because I really like the way the Note 7 looked and felt, except for when it got hot. Mind you, I went through 3 of those things. So, but on the iPhone, now I saw some of those same reports that you're talking about, and I saw some more. And if they're not able to fix the problem with the fingerprint reader being directly under the glass in a efficient way, then there's a chance that this iPhone won't have a fingerprint reader at all, which would be a little weird, but I can see how Apple can twist it. Because when you think about Apple is real big on telling you what you want and telling you what you need. So if they say you don't need a fingerprint reader because we've taken Microsoft's iris scanner and made it better. Well, Samsung made it better. And then we took Samsung's, okay, let me rephrase that because it doesn't belong to either one of them. But what I can tell you, can you hear that?
No.
Okay, good. Glad you can't hear that. Sorry about that, guys. The Apple's so good at telling us what we want and what we don't want. They can say, okay, you don't need our fingerprint reader because we've made the iris scanner so much better than Microsoft, so much better than Samsung that it's so accurate, it can't be fooled, and our face recognition is not gimmicky like Samsung's where it can be tricked by a picture. We use the same technology as Microsoft does with Windows Hello, and we made it better. So and instead of just doing 3D depth, it does like full 4D, everything, blah, 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 blah. And this is why you don't need a fingerprint reader. So you don't need a fingerprint reader. This is going to work so much faster. Oh, but by the way, you have to hold the phone up directly in front of you for it to work.
That's kind of where you did prove a good point, and I was going to immediately interject before, but I'm glad I listened, because I can really see Apple doing that, to be totally honest. However, I think iOS at its core is so heavily dependent on fingerprint. Yes, you have, I mean, I know no one uses it, but you have reachability, you have Apple Pay, you have the App Store is controlled by that, which is an easy patch of it. But all these third-party apps that have been using the Touch ID sensor, and there's probably something else I'm not getting or not remembering, but it's a core part and has been
the App Store. when you go to download apps, you can no longer.
Yeah, that's what I said. I mean,
I'm sorry, I missed that.
It's cool. That I can see being changed because that's kind of a simple patch. Apple can update the App Store, say, hey, instead of fingerprints, retina scan for ID. But I just don't think Apple can do that kind of overhaul that fast. All right,
what is think about it. How many people, when they're using Apple Pay, you just put your phone next to the register, and then if you have the security on it, you throw your fingerprint on it, it's done. Now, if they go that route where you have to use the iris scanner, you tap your phone to pay, and you have to put it in front of your face to verify the payment. Really? I mean, so they're just going to train all their users to put the phone down and then hold it in front of them like they're taking a selfie? That takes away the convenience of putting your phone down, then putting your finger right on top of it, and then walking away, saying, thank you, gave me my damn receipt.
So, I'm about to, Apple call me, because this is going to change the game for you. But I'm about to suggest something that's going to just alleviate all of this problem, once and for all. Can you guess what that is?
I'm on the edge of my seat.
So, take your iPhone in your hand. Is it nearby?
We're talking to you users. Grab your iPhones.
So...
yeah, it's in my hand right now.
Alright. Is it out of a case?
Let me undress this jet black.
Ooh, sexy.
Come here, girl.
Did that pop like that? Really?
Let me take that case off. Ooh, yeah.
Oh,
so soft and silky.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is high quality entertainment. You can only get it First Issue Tech. Like, comment, subscribe.
Ooh, is that oil of Olay on your skin, girl? Ooh, wee.
Okay, so is there something on the back of the phone that you notice that is directly in the middle, is directly where your finger goes, and just would make no sense not to include a fingerprint scanner?
No.
It's the Apple logo, sir.
Oh, you're talking on the back. I was going to say that. I even wrote it down on my notes. I was waiting for you beat me to that one. I wrote that down. Oh, man. You totally beat me to the... I wasn't even thinking about it. I was too busy touching the jet black.
Yeah, I'm so sorry, but yeah.
Yeah,
so,
you're absolutely right. The Apple sensor would be perfect. That would be perfect. If they can't put the fingerprint reader under the glass, it doesn't matter. Make the Apple logo a fingerprint reader. That would be the coolest thing. I would like that a lot because the Apple logo is in the perfect spot. Normally, I'm like, cover that thing up and hide it, but if it's the fingerprint reader, yeah, leave that bad boy out.
And like throw like an LED underneath it so it like flashes when you unlock it. That would be pretty dope. Just saying.
Well, there's a third-party guy out there showing people how to illuminate their Apple logos like the Mac. So if Apple did it straight from the factory and it was a fingerprint reader, come on, man. All the sheep would go bah and jump with joy. They would go crazy.
Mm-hmm. But see,
they're like, oh my God, Apple did this. It's the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah, see, that's why we're not. That's why we don't work for Apple. We make too much sense. We'd also have a headphone jack in the phone too. And if we lost the headphone jack, it'd be replaced immediately with USB Type-C.
Yeah.
Just saying, which it better have. So, man.
Ooh, jet black. This thing, it's just so soft. I'm telling you, it's got to be oil of Olay, girl. What's that? Oh, I'm sorry. It was talking to me.
Well, I'll tell you what, folks. It's been a good ride, but I think we're gonna have to call it a good night at this one. Hope y'all had fun. Thanks for sticking with us. Did you get all your cockroaches out your system, man?
My cockroach jokes? Or you calling me a PS4? You calling me a PS4? You just called me a PS4. You said that I get all my cockroaches out of my system.
Nah, man, you got more teraflops than that. I know. You're like a solid 6.5.
I'm like an Xbox Scorpio. One more thing before we disconnect, we gotta let all of our users know how frustrated we are with Samsung putting out that update to block remapping of the Bixby button. The Bixby button for Bixby, the Samsung assistant who currently has no voice. Mm-hmm. That's like Apple announcing Siri on the iPhone. Say, hey, Siri's coming to the iPhone with this OS. And then Siri doesn't work. Siri doesn't get to talk. You have to wait for a later update to use Siri. Really?
So yeah, R.I.P. to everyone that's gonna have that extra button on their phone and just
for nothing.
Mm-hmm. But hey, if you want to root that brand new phone and remap it to something else, be our guest. But you're possibly bricking $800, $900 phones, so be my guest.
Hey, Courtney did not tell you guys to do that. Remember, so when you say you heard it from somebody, you heard it from Kyle. You did not hear it from me. Don't blame me. I got enough people blame me for stuff that I ain't do.
The views and opinions on the show are not the sole opinions of First Issue Tech, but it's spectators herein.
No, it's the opinions of the individual host.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen. It's been real.
Ladies and gentlemen,
I need to go back to school or something.
No, we're just trying to have some fun. We're just getting started. This is mission number 8, and you guys have been with us for this whole ride. We appreciate it. Shout out to our friends at Team Xbox. Go check them out if you have any questions. And again, we thank you for riding with us. And as we fumble around and goof off and make no sense as we talk about tech news.
Man, it's been lovely. Y'all are lovely. Sir, you have not been so lovely. Cocker.
That's all right. I got a jet black iPhone. What you got?
Nothing. Mine's my baby's. That's cool and all, but I like curves. Okay, I like my curves.
Well, I'm working with no acetol right now, so it's okay.
I love that. Good night, ladies and gentlemen. It's been
Have
good.
a great night, people. First Issue Tech on the rise.